So Sleep is the next track on the album. So Sleep, how Sleep came together. I actually wrote Sleep for somebody else. I was writing the song Sleep for another person, and the person I was writing the song for at the time knew that I was trying to branch off into being seen more as an artist because, you know, as some people know, like I'm known for the professional version of me, my 9 to 5 version of me, and the artist version of me is still taking some time for people to get used to. So he knew this background story of me as I was writing Sleep. And after as we were writing Sleep, actually when we were pretty much done with it, he was like, I think you should keep this song, you know, because you're building yourself up as an artist, and, you know, I want you to have your own content, so keep Sleep. So that's how Sleep came about. As we were writing the song, I remember though, initially we decided we were going to collaborate on something, and, you know, for all intents and purposes, I wrote most of the song too, so I can understand why he gave it to me. I mean, he gave some bits and pieces to it, but I remember like we met up at the beach, you know, summertime shy, you know, went through a bunch of beats, settled on a beat, and I'm just listening to it. And like, I'm just like, I don't know, something about it just seemed like really relaxing, you know, like it just made me want to, it didn't make me want to fall asleep, but it put me in this relaxed, like state of mind. So I'm like, okay, and I was just vibing with it. And I was like, okay, what can I come up with this? And I was like, Sleep. This song reminds me of Sleep. But I didn't want to do like a sleep song where it's like, oh, I'm about to put you to sleep, or let's make love, like none of that. Like I wanted to like take it to another level. And of course, you know, kind of consistent with the theme of the album, I felt like people were sleeping on a version of me. And even though this is my journey too, like I realized that it's the journey of lots of people. So I was like, let's talk about how people sleep on our journeys. And I think a lot of times, and as I kept going through it, it's like, that's fine. Like, let people sleep on you and let them not pay attention. So when you do get to where you're going, they're like, oh, what happened? Like, I didn't realize you were doing blah, blah, blah. Like, I think DJ Khaled says something about this. Like, you should take everyone seriously in what they're doing in their journey, because you don't want to be that person that waits until they become someone important to then take them seriously, because then when they get to that level, they're going to remember that you kind of, for all intents and purposes, shitted on them, you know, along their way because they weren't quote unquote established or, you know, the elite in the industry or what have you. So you have to treat everyone like an equal, because you never know. Like, and that's not just for music or entertainment, that's for like any industry. Like even working in my 9 to 5, I've seen people, you know, start off as like very junior level roles, and I was really nice to them. And then because I was so nice to them in that process, when they got to a certain level, they remembered me. They remembered my sincerity. They remembered that I was genuine with them. So they were willing to help me because I didn't put them down when they didn't have a certain level in their life. So basically that's what Sleep is about. Sleep is about like, yeah, like some of you guys, no matter how much we say this message, or no matter how much we advocate for this, somebody is not going to pay attention. And it actually works in our favor, because if you're not paying attention to how I'm trying to ascend or what I'm doing to ascend, then you're not stopping me. And you can just watch the process when it happens. So that was how Sleep came to be. The lyrics are, welcome to this dream world, because you're just in time to see just how much your little nap time can affect our destiny. Lay your head down on the pillow, let yourself sink in that bed, because the shit I'm about to tell you about to fuck with your little head. While you dancing La La Land, I'm about to go and grab these bands. So relax as I apprehend, slowly collecting all your fans. Curling up in your 1,000 thread, now you cannot comprehend how I slowly grew my bread, but don't sweat, baby, I'm still your friend. I'm straight, come up to the sun, come up, feeling like a dumb because you in the slumber, act like my number wasn't my number one. Disrespect the runner, just like I'm a runner. Shooting my shot, shot my gunning. No, I'm a dog, but don't take the under. Word to your mother, there'll be a blunder. Be like no other, be something other. My favorite verse, though, is the second verse. Go ahead, calm your mind, just release that melatonin, because it keeps you from knowing how I'm about to put my toe in. Go and drift the river rim as I clock all my time in. Easily take in this win as you trip on Ambien. When I wrote that line, I was like, I love that line. Like, easily taking this win as you trip on Ambien. That was like my favorite line. Go sip some more again as my hit comes on again. I'm too slick for all your friends. Yeah. I like this song too because actually as I'm saying it out loud, like I'm thinking about like just yesterday I had a conversation with somebody, and as I go through this journey, I'm realizing that people are putting me in certain boxes that don't fit in, like, oh, this is what the industry wants and this is what you have to be. And I get that, like I'm not shitting on that by no stretch of the imagination, but there is still a segment of people that's looking for something different. And I think as long as you keep trying to fit into what you think everybody wants, you make it harder for yourself to step out, because then if you sound like everyone else, then why should anyone care about who you are, because you sound just like the next person. And even with like how rap has evolved, like you have classic rock and rap and things like that, and now you have melodic rap, and it's just, there's still like room to grow. There's still room to merge different sounds. Like let's take jazz, for example. Like this is not about sleep, but let's take jazz, for example. I was thinking about this on the way here. Like even with jazz, like jazz has not been a popular art form for some years. It was popular like during the Harlem Renaissance, you know, in the 20s, 30s, 40s. Then it evolved with the Miles Davis, and then you have fusion, and now you have smooth jazz and things like that. But even with jazz not being a quote unquote popular genre that you hear on the radio, to this day you still see people capitalizing off of jazz. There are still people that can make albums based off of classic jazz, smooth jazz. Like even if sounds evolve, there's still an audience looking for some, you know, looking for the elements. So this notion that we're supposed to stick with, oh, well, this is what's hip right now. Like, don't borrow sounds from the 80s, or don't borrow sounds from the 90s or early 2000s. Like, you just got to stick with what's right now. I think that limits you as an artist and as a musician, and even like no matter what art form you're going into. So yeah, that's sleep. Yeah, just sleep on me. It's hard though. I mean, like as you say this, like you have to have like this level of cocky, and you have like this level of cocky that you have to have, you know, to go on stage and to be vulnerable and, you know, put yourself out there. But at the end of the day, like you're an artist, and that's a very vulnerable, hard thing to create artwork and then put it on display for everyone to criticize, you know. But yeah, in this moment of cockiness, I want everyone to sleep on me so that I can slowly grow and you can just look up one day and like, well, how did Vanessa get here? Like, I don't know. I just ended up here. Hope you enjoyed the dream world, people. If I keep talking about sleep, it used to be my favorite song. But then, of course, as you write more songs, you get more favorites. Of course, like, your favorites is always, like, the most recent thing you did. Like, oh, this is the greatest thing that I've done. And that's what it's supposed to be. But sleep was my favorite for a long time. And I think a lot of people, some people like sleep because of the vibe of it. Some people don't like it, you know, because of the cadences that I did. I actually, like, redid the cadences after the first time I did it. And even though I redid the cadences to make it a little bit more syncopated, the first one is still my favorite, even though that one isn't out. I don't know, maybe one day I might be somebody important like Maroon 5 and do like the 10-year anniversary and show you like and share like the original, you know, clips like Maroon 5 did when they came out with songs about Jane and the 10-year anniversary. And you had like the industry version, and then you had like this was actually the first version. I do want people to sleep on me though. I say that. and I don't mean it at the same time. But I mean it and I mean it. It's kind of like, everything is complex though. Everything is layered, right? Like we're like multifaceted individuals. Like we're happy one moment, we're confident one moment, then we're insecure another moment. It's a natural progression of human life. But isn't that what art's supposed to be? It's supposed to be a representation of how we all are, right? It's like a painting. I guess the influence, even though she's not a rapper, it's hard to say because even though you have influences, sometimes the influences don't necessarily directly influence the song. Like at that time, I guess Bryson Tiller, but like it's not Bryson Tiller. It's still me. But and I was listening to her and I guess I, thinking about like a Bryson Tiller or her song or something along those lines. Like I kind of took that vibe, but then it's like not stick with that vibe. Like just put Vanessa in there and make it totally different. And like one thing I like about my music, which is challenging at some points, is that when people listen to my music, I'm like, who do I sound like? Who would you compare me to? And he's like, I can't compare you to anybody. You sound like Vanessa. So I think that's a cool thing. So it's like I was influenced by like a Bryson Tiller and a her, but then I kind of like took that flow. Like you don't hear Bryson Tiller in there except for maybe in the beat, probably. So have a great nap.